Pay attention to where you're going, okay?
Okay.
Pay attention to where you're standing. So what am I doing? Would be a good question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tying rebar, making sure that rebar does not sit on the deck. Rebar has to be in the middle of concrete, of the concrete slab. So I have to tie it together. So when I start pouring, I can just hold a section and lift it. It will lift the majority of it so that it's in the middle. Also, it helps to make sure that it is together, it is compacted together in the concrete. I'm sure there's more engineering explanation for that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all I have for now. That's as engineering as I can go. Right?
Okay.
So once this is all done, we are going to put some rebar chair to help further keep it elevated in the slab. So, but by the time you pour, some of the rebar chair it falls off anyway, unless you tie it. I don't think I want to tie the rebar chair to the rebar after having tied two rebars together. So I'm just gonna put the chair as much as I can, but at time of pouring, I'm gonna jiggle it to move it up from within the concrete anyway. So I think it's okay.
Do you have to take out the rebar chairs after you pour the concrete, or can you leave them there?
Nope, it stays in the concrete. I'm sure some people remove it. I'm sure there's good. Well, you, Mr. Science, I'm sure there's a good scientific explanation as to whether or not you need to leave it in or take it out. That's your kind of stuff.
Okay.
I'm sure there is,
Mm-hmm.
but I've seen people leave it in. I've seen people remove it as they're pouring. I don't think it matters. I mean, if you leave these things, if you leave plastic zip ties in the concrete, remember the forms that we use for the basement?
Mm-hmm.
You see how they're connected with each other?
Yeah.
The studs?
Mm-hmm.
The plastic, right?
Yep.
Stay in the concrete.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure rebar chair can sit in the concrete because rebar chair is usually plastic or metal. So
The reason they use plastic or metal is because one, metal is literally built for the concrete. It helps with tension, and two, plastic takes hundreds of years to biodegrade, dissolve into nature, basically.
okay, that's a good rational explanation. Yeah. So to answer your question, we are not going to remove not because we understand not because I understand all the implications, but because I've seen people not remove it.
Okay.
So I've seen some professional concrete workers not remove it. I don't know if it's supposed to be removed at all.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter. So, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Alright. We're almost done. Like 1/10 of the way. Almost done.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Yeah.
couple hundred more to go.
Yep. So after we're done with this, we will block the lumber back there and make sure that it's blocked, that it stays put when the concrete applies pressure on it. And then go in the basement and block in the inside so concrete doesn't ooze back in the basement.
Okay.
And then we are going to find a low spot to send the pipe from this part of the building to that part of the building beneath or inside of this concrete. I think it makes sense to do it that way. So if there is any power cord to go through, we may save ourselves some length. Instead of trying to wrap the power cord around to that open part of the basement to go on this side, we just send it through to the other side. So it seems reasonable to do it that way, or at least to give us the option.
Yeah.
To give ourselves the option. So that's what we have. Then we are going to prepare the sonotube. Sonotubes are what we are going to use to build the columns. Initially we were going to use concrete blocks, but then I realized it was going to be a time saver to use sonotube. I don't even know why I was thinking about concrete. It's definitely more work using concrete than sonotube. The hard part with sonotube is I will just have to install it on the day of, because if I install it before that, if it rains, it might degrade or disintegrate because it's paper.
Okay.
But it's solid enough to be able to hold the concrete for the first few minutes so that it can start to solidify. So, but I'm sure there are ways to do that where those who know what they're doing more than I do can install the tube way ahead of time. But for us, we are going to do it on the day of. But everything has already been prepared and arranged down there to where that's the only thing that we're needing. Well, I guess with a little bit of bracing, but that's about it.
Okay.